He had forgotten even his own name. That's all Tolkien tells us. He was once a man. Now, he is only a voice with no name, a mouthpiece for the Dark Lord. But who was he, and what did he sacrifice to become the Mouth of Sauron? Welcome back to You Shall Not Scroll, where we explore the lost legends, forgotten ages, and hidden depths of Tolkien's world. In today's video, we're diving into one of the most chilling and mysterious figures in The Lord of the Rings, the Mouth of Sauron. You've seen him sneering at Aragorn in Peter Jackson's Return of the King, but his story runs far deeper than an extended edition scene. Let's ride to the Black Gate and uncover the twisted truth behind the voice of Mordor. The Mouth of Sauron is not a name, but a title, a chilling reflection of his role. He is the lieutenant of the Tower of Barad-dur and the chief emissary and spokesman of Sauron. Tolkien tells us he was a renegade of Black Númenórean descent, a man who entered the service of the Dark Tower when it first rose again, and who worshipped Sauron, being enamored with evil knowledge. Because of his cunning and intellect, he rose in Sauron's favor. He was taught sorcery, knew much of Sauron's mind, and was said to be crueler than even orcs. He's not a ring wraith, he's not undead, he's a living man, descended from the corrupted men of Númenor, who had long fallen into darkness. So while not immortal, he's extremely long-lived. Most telling about the Mouth of Sauron, though, is that his name appears in no tales, and he no longer knew it himself. In Paul Coker's Master of Middle-earth, he states that with such high value placed on names in Tolkien's world, the dwarves and Treebeard not sharing their true names for example, the lack of a name for the Mouth of Sauron signifies a total surrender of self to Sauron. Besides the Nazgûl, who have no will other than Sauron's, the Black Númenórean seems to be Sauron's most trusted servant in Middle-earth. The Mouth of Sauron's appearance is terrifying. As he rides out of the Black Gate to meet with Gandalf and the others, he's described as having a tall and evil shape, adorned entirely in black. The rider was robed all in black, and black was his lofty helm. The lieutenant of the Tower of Barad-dur he was, and his name is remembered in no tell, for he himself had forgotten it, and he said, "I am the Mouth of Sauron." Even more terrifying is the black horse he rides, if horse it was, for it was huge and hideous, and its face was a frightful mask, more like a skull than a living head, and in the sockets of his eyes and in its nostrils there burned a flame. The Mouth of Sauron is one of the Black Númenóreans, descendants of the men of Númenor who were part of the Kingsmen's faction. They migrated to Middle-earth and fell under Sauron's shadow during the Second Age. These men ruled over the more primitive people of Middle-earth with cruelty, and survived the downfall of Númenor. In the history of Middle-earth, The War of the Ring, Christopher Tolkien references earlier versions where the Mouth of Sauron was captured as a youth and brought to Mordor. He was then once the son of a noble house in Gondor. This was later changed to make him of Númenórean descent, a powerful way to show that even noble men like the Númenóreans could fall into evil. Also in a manuscript outline of Book 5, the name of Sauron's messenger at Dagorlad is given as Mordu, meaning Black Knight. Why would anyone choose to serve the Dark Lord? Well, the Black Númenóreans already had a legacy of worshipping power and domination. The Mouth of Sauron, even as a youth, was drawn to that power. He rose quickly in Sauron's service, learning great sorcery, and becoming one of his most trusted agents. In the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, letter 183, Tolkien describes some men as being driven by fear, others by the desire for order, and still others by raw ambition, all of which Sauron manipulates. The Mouth of Sauron represents the kind of evil that chooses submission in exchange for authority. He doesn't serve out of fear alone, he believes in the Dark Lord's order. He even stood to take over Isengard if Sauron's terms were met, potentially becoming a petty tyrant in his own right. He's not just a soldier. The Mouth of Sauron is a diplomat, enforcer, and representative. He's the voice of Sauron in situations where his master chooses not to appear, a sign of how high his status is in the Dark Tower. Tolkien writes that he was the lieutenant of the Tower of Barad-dur, second only to Sauron in command. And his lack of a name suggests that he has been completely consumed by his role. He exists to speak for his master, nothing more. It's also likely that he was involved in the torture of Gollum and may have been the one who visited Erebor, offering an alliance with the dwarves in exchange for information on a Baggins, prompting Dain to send Glóin to Rivendell. In one of the most tense moments of The Return of the King, the Mouth of Sauron rides out to confront Aragorn, Gandalf, and the captains of the West. He comes not to fight, but to negotiate, and his tone, utter contempt. He mocks them, gloats, and uses informal language. He presents Frodo and Sam's gear, the mithril coat, the elven cloak, and the dagger of Western Ness, as proof that the ring-bearer has been captured. But Gandalf sees through the deception. If Frodo had truly been captured and Sauron had the ring, there would be no need for this meeting. Gondor would already be destroyed. The Mouth offers terms of surrender, complete disarmament, and acceptance of Sauron's dominion. Ithilien would be taken over, and Gondor would be forbidden from bearing arms ever again. Gandalf replies, "These we will take," seizing Frodo and Sam's belongings. "But as for your terms, we reject them utterly. Get you gone, for your embassy is over, and death is near you." The Mouth recoils in rage, realizing his bluff has failed, and rides back to the gate. In Peter Jackson's Return of the King, the extended edition, the Mouth of Sauron is portrayed by Bruce Spence, with horrifying prosthetics and a disturbingly elongated CGI mouth. It's visually striking, but there are major differences. In the movie, Aragorn kills the Mouth of Sauron. In the book, he's not killed. Aragorn simply looks at him, and he flinches. Tolkien knew the rules of war. You don't kill heralds. The Mouth even says as much when Aragorn stares him down. It makes for a powerful cinematic moment, sure, but Aragorn, as rightful king, would know better. So why did Tolkien include the Mouth of Sauron at all? Though he appears only briefly, he serves several key purposes. He represents evil that speaks, manipulation, deceit, and diplomacy turned into weapons. He contrasts with characters like Gandalf, who speaks truth, and Aragorn, who speaks with rightful authority. He shows how evil often hides behind bureaucracy and false negotiations, using words instead of war, until war becomes convenient. As Tolkien once wrote in the letters, the chief weapon of evil is deceit. Even the wise cannot see all ends. The Mouth of Sauron is a deceiver, not powerful like a dragon or Nazgul, but dangerous in a different way, through words. The Mouth of Sauron may appear only for a moment, but he leaves a lasting impression. He's a living symbol of a man who gave up everything, name, soul, will, to serve evil with his voice. He reminds us that not all monsters carry swords, some just carry lies. If you enjoyed this dive into Tolkien's darker characters, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next scroll through Middle-earth. And before you ride off from the Black Gate, tell us in the comments, which lesser-known Tolkien character should we explore next? The Blue Wizards? Ungoliant? Maybe even Tom Bombadil's shadowy origins. Your ideas help shape the journey. And if you want even more hidden lore, check out our playlist on Tolkien's most mysterious figures, from Gollum's entire life to Fatty Bolger. Thanks for watching You Shall Not Scroll. See you next time.